Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today where I'll talk about alcohol DUIs and what you're really charged with when you're charged with an alcohol DUI. Now, there are two charges that are associated with a DUI. The first one is 23-152A of the Vehicle Code in California. What that charges you with is driving while under the influence of alcohol. But there's another charge, 23-152B of the California Vehicle Code, which makes it a crime to drive with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.08 or higher. Now that's where a lot of people think about the 0.08 or higher rule. Now the fact that there are these two charges can make things confusing for people. For example, people who drive might get behind the wheel as long as they're below 0.08, when in reality it's a crime to drive while under the influence of alcohol at all. So being below the legal limit doesn't necessarily mean that you're avoiding criminal liability. Now, like all crimes in California, for a prosecutor to prosecute and prove their case for a DUI, they have to meet certain elements. And those elements are slightly different between the driving under the influence and driving with a 0.08 or higher blood alcohol concentration. Now, both of these charges require driving, some kind of a movement of the vehicle. But each of them have different second elements. For example, the driving under the influence charge, that second element is just that when the person drove, they were under the influence of an alcoholic beverage. Now that is rather subjective. That can be different from person to person. Maybe when I drive and I'm at a 0.06, I drive all over the road, weaving. Maybe I'm very under the influence. But another person, if they're at a 0.06, maybe they're right between the lines, stopping at every stop sign, every traffic light, and driving just as good as they would when they're at a 0.02, 0.00 with no alcohol. So just because you're below 0.08 does not mean that you can't be charged with driving under the influence. And then of course the 23-152B charge of being at a 0.08 or higher is not as subjective, it's more objective. If the police officers do a breath test or a blood test and that test comes back with your blood alcohol being 0.08 or higher, well, there you have the number. And there are defenses that you can do for any kind of DUI case. And those are defenses that I'm not going to cover in this video, but you should talk to a lawyer about or see some of our other videos in which we're discussing those. But it's important to remember that just because you're below 0.08 with a blood alcohol concentration does not mean that you still cannot pick up a DUI.